All right, everyone. Thank you for joining our fifth webinar series on the Brookaire web portal. This one is titled Streamlining Your Contract Management. To recap why we're doing these webinars, it's really providing some basic training to those of you that are perhaps current users and need a refresh, or new customers that are looking for guidance on how to do the processes on this exclusive website that's helping contractors and maintenance managers alike to better manage their preventative maintenance, whether it's for preventative maintenance agreement customers or preventative maintenance for your own facility. Quick introduction for those of you that may not be familiar with Brookaire. We have been around since the 1970s. We got started as a contractor. In the course of the following years, we identified needs in the filter space and have since gotten involved in supplying filters to our customers, ultimately becoming a full-blown manufacturer with the capability today of making in excess of 30,000 filters a day. So we'll jump into the content here in a moment. Today's session covering the contract feature. Just to clarify, this is something that isn't available by default. You'd have to request this feature. So to speak to your sales rep or account manager, if you would like this feature enabled. It is a brand new feature, and like all features we introduce, it will evolve as we get feedback from customers. Let's jump into it. So what this feature does is it allows you to take job lists and turn them into contracts and thereby preventative maintenance events for the duration of the preventative maintenance contract. So where we're going to start is in our job lists. A point we just wanted to make here is that this simple example that I'm going to show you today isn't quite so critical, but when you have larger job lists where you have the same size filter multiple times throughout the job list for different pieces of equipment, they will all be grouped together or packaged together if there is not a unique identifier for each item. So in this case, we'll make it super simple and we'll just title it the same as the job name or the job list name. However, you could add further customization as much as you want, rooftop units, for example, or air handler number, or whatever the case may be. We'll add that to each of these items, and then we'll show you in the contract module how we turn this job list into a contract agreement with the preventative maintenance events. All right, done there. So we'll jump into this contract tab. This is not a feature that's available by default, so just request it if you do want access to it. We will jump into contract list. Because we're starting with a new contract, we're going to say new contract. We'll just name it with the job list name here. Let's say the start date is October 1st. Once you've done that, it's going to take you to the next page where it's going to prompt you to import a job template. We will do that here. I'll just name it the same name. The reason it prompts you to name it again is because you could have multiple preventative maintenance contracts or agreements or jobs scheduled for the same building or address or what have you. So it just gives you the opportunity to customize it further. Start date, again, we're going to say October 1st. The interval, you've just put in a numerical quantity here, and then here gives you the opportunity to say, is that days, weeks, or months? In this case, we're going to say 3 months, and then we'll do the end date. Let's just say that this is a 1-year contract. So we're going to go to 2026, and we're going to go to September. Just make sure you date it for 1 day prior to the start dates. So otherwise it creates a 5th event in this case because it counts that as month 13. So we'll say September 30th, and it automatically populates here as 4 jobs. And now we're going to pull the job list in that we just edited, which was 220 East 42nd Street. And we're going to hit save. You can double check the details here. If everything looks good, which it does, we're going to do the button here where we say generate preventative maintenance agreements. Now what that does is it's going to create the events here where we can see them. Just make sure you're looking at the right date range. By default, it just picks a number. I don't know what that number is, but we'll change this to September 30th. And we'll refresh because sometimes it takes a minute for these preventative maintenance contracts to come through. And because this is a webinar, it will give us extra trouble.
Hey, Kurt, I think it's since it started on October 1st, you got to move that second date to October 1st.
Yes. Thank you. There we go. It's good to have somebody on the call that knows what they're doing. So here we are. It's showing right here, and it's just showing the one occurrence because of our date range. So if we change this date range to September 30th of 2026, it's going to show us all of the preventative maintenance occurrences in that period of time. So obviously, as a service coordinator or maintenance manager, you're just going to be wanting to look at the next couple of weeks or next quarter, perhaps. So we will say, we'll just go back to October 31st and see what's going to be happening in the next 30 days, roughly. So we'll jump into this one that we have just created. Here are the 3 items that were on that job list. It's telling us that at this point they are not in the cart. So what it's doing is it's just creating an event in your calendar to keep an eye on, but it's not going to automatically order the items until you want to go ahead and do so. So we'll say add all items to cart, and it will give us a little confirmation here saying that that is done. And now we can see those items up here. In this case, we're going to jump right to the checkout since we're just going to be doing this one list for demonstration purposes. If you already have an existing delivery, you can add it to that delivery. We're just going to use this default address in this case. Here's your delivery options for whatever type of delivery service you're looking for. Scheduled delivery date, we'll say our date of start on the contract, October 1st. Pick some default times there. Contact, we'll pick myself. Payment terms are set. PO number, test 2. Billing address, and then we're going to go ahead and double check everything. Everything looks good. We'll go ahead and place that order. Once you place the order for this job, it is going to show up in your scheduled orders queue, where you can then double check or you can keep an eye on the delivery dates and adjust that as the date gets near. As we all know in the service industry, the unexpected is what usually happens. So here is where you're given the flexibility to change that actual delivery date. So we've just got a couple under the same delivery address here. And here we can go into each item. We can edit those delivery dates, again, just based on how that schedule actually shakes out in reality. So that covers scheduling the contracts. Is there any questions, Sarah or Dave, that's popped in while we've been chatting?
No questions at this point, Kurt, but I wondered if you would jump back to that contract now that we've placed the order to show how that changed, to show that it was indeed placed, and then that sales order that's linked to it.
Yes, absolutely. If we go back to the preventative maintenance tab, we can toggle on the switch here that says show the ordered ones, and now we can see that this one here that we ordered is in fact still in the scheduler on the list, but it's kind of grayed out here, so you can see that the order has been placed. If you click into it, you can see the sales order number associated with that and dig into that further. So you do have double confirmation here that everything is ordered, or you can jump right into that scheduled order from your preventative maintenance dashboard as well. Thanks for reminding me about that, David. Anything else that I missed?
One question that did come in just now is around customers that might set up a series, like in the case you just showed, a series of 4 PMs, but let's say they only do belts once a year. Could you show how to edit that series to remove a specific item from a specific PM?
Yep. In that case, we could do one of 2 things. Let's hop back into the job list itself. To David's point, most of you, especially in the service contract world, are going to be dealing with customer or contracts that would change the belts once a year versus the filters being quarterly. So what we can do in that case is we can create another contract to cover a specific items or category that may be on a different cycle than your other preventative maintenance occurrences. So we'll say the same start date here. Just type in belts for our own reference, even though I've added it to the name already. Now, in this case, I don't have a ready-made job list to add to this as a belt list, but what I'll do, same start date, interval, we're going to say once 12 months is going to be the interval on this. And of course, you can change that to whatever is in actuality for your account. We'll just say the same job name again, just for demonstration purposes. And we'll hit save and generate the preventative maintenance series. In this case, what we'll do is we'll go in there and delete the items that we don't want to order. It's not the perfect demonstration because you would ideally have a separate job list to pull from, but hopefully this helps. Here it is right here. And then in this case, we could just delete the items that we didn't want on this occurrence. But again, if you did have these types of scenarios, you'd be better served by creating a different or like a duplicate job list with just the belts on it, for example. Does that cover that, David?
Yeah, as you said, there's a couple different ways to do it. They could have a separate job list template and attach it to two templates to the same contract. You could also have one job list and then just eliminate the items as you've shown from the preventative maintenance series, the items that you don't need. So a couple different ways to handle that one. That's good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Looks like that's it for now.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you all again for joining. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to check this out. And we'll see you next week for episode 6. Thanks for joining.